Start getting back on time. Let's go.
Well, one question that I posed to the House, and maybe you could give me a sense of where your caucus is on this idea of creating compacts. If the court rules that the compacts renew for another 15 years, is that off the table? Is that off the table for another 15 years, or do you think there's an appetite to completely rework the compacts on the legislative side?
Well, first off, I'm waiting to see what the federal court says on does it auto renew or not. That's a question that is now out of the hands of state government, really, in the federal court. Watching several court cases, actually, that I'd love to talk about at some point on the Murphy and McGirt decision, have huge potential implications. The redistricting question has huge implications, and this one you referred to has huge implications for the state. Regardless of how they fine, there's still opportunity. You know, we still have sports betting out. There's still opportunities to hopefully talk about sales tax compacts, other things that are of mutual interest to both the tribes and the state of Oklahoma. So I don't think anything precludes us from having ongoing discussions. You know, when the all and dice issue was brought up, there was an extension of the compact. They tried to change the language to say that it would go to 2035. We balked at that and said no. And I've been very clear that I was trying to hold sports betting off to the side to have a point of negotiation in the future. So I hope there's something that we can find mutually beneficial for the tribes and the state. There's a lot of issues we have to talk to, including the ones I mentioned, but most importantly, I'm very, concerned is not the right word, but I'm very watchful of what the U.S. Supreme Court is going to do on Murphy and or McGirt.
So do you believe that the compacts automatically renew?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if they do or don't. That is out of the hands of the legislature. You know, 3-4 years ago, I ran a bill out of the Senate that required ratification of compacts from the state. That didn't see its way all the way to the governor's desk. So we have no official role in this part. I'm anxiously awaiting to see what the federal court says, and it will give us clarity one way or another. My brothers at first were to go into arbitration to solve that issue rather than in the courtroom, but it's ended this way, and we'll see how the federal court decides. But even if the federal court says yes, they auto renew, or no, they don't auto renew, I don't think that changes the fact that we still live side by side, work side by side, have mutual interest, and I think there are reasons that we would come together to talk about how can we mutually benefit the 39 federal tribes in Oklahoma and the state of Oklahoma.
What do you think about Governor Stitt's health care plan that he unveiled today in D.C.?
Well, I was appreciative of him giving me a briefing a day or two ago on some of the high-level details of it. I'm still digging into what the Trump component of the healthy adults provision that was rolled out today. I'm excited that we're trying to take our destiny into our own hands and not just allowing the Medicaid expansion carte blanche to be in the Constitution, but trying to come up with an Oklahoma plan that's customized. I do think one of the concerns that I had early on when we were having this discussion during the interim was I worried about the timetable. How do you get it implemented? Is it going to be a 6 to 18 month process to have a state plan amendment adopted? Seeing Moderna and the governor standing side by side gives you some comfort that there's a more expedited approach to getting something like this done. But I still have to read the details and understand the intricacies of what the block grant or the healthy adults provision that I'm not really familiar with.
What do you think would happen if the state question does pass at the end of the year? Obviously, these two plans can't coexist. I mean, is there some logic in waiting until to see what happens with that vote?
No, I think there's logic in trying to go forward and have the maximum flexibility if we get the right plan. If it's enshrined in our Constitution, it gives us minimum flexibility as times change in the future. I would like to have maximum flexibility. The Oklahoma State Senate last year, Senator Courtney, advanced through the committee process Oklahoma plan use and insure home monies and other things to try to give us flexibility. It wasn't ready to pass all the way to the governor's desk. But we've been looking for an Oklahoma solution for a while, and I hope that we find one that's agreeable and will help get Oklahomans healthy. Really, the bottom line is about access to health care and health outcomes. We have some terrible health outcomes, including child mortality, obesity, heart attack. All of those type of things are bad health indicators. So our focus, no matter what we do, should be on those health outcomes for Oklahomans. And if this gets us to that end, I'm excited. We need to sit down with my colleagues and really digest the plan. But I'm excited the governor's showing some leadership on this and advancing a plan that is customized to Oklahoma.
Do you think that two plans can coexist?
No.
You know,
No, if there's a state question that passes, I think it nullifies any work we do in this arena because the state constitution would obviously trump any executive action and or any legislative action that we took right now.
Obviously, the governor expanded his power quite a bit last year with his ability to appoint these agency heads. Are you prepared to give him even more power this session? He's talked about wanting the power of the superintendent, merge agencies, that kind of thing.
But if you look at it, it empowered the legislative branch and the executive branch. Never before did we have appointments on those oversight commissions or committees. You know, the speaker got to, I got to. I've been taking a very robust approach in the state senate. Hired someone specifically to help me on appointments or reassign duties to really vet these people. If we're going to give the executive the authority to hire and fire agency directors, which I have believed in since the time I ran, that you have to give the chief executive the ability to hire and fire and have some control over the executive branch so we can hold that individual accountable to the governor. But what I didn't envision until last year was we were going to be able to appoint from the Senate and the House some oversight members too as well. That has really given us a much closer insight into what is happening in the agencies. When we had our caucus retreat in November, I invited the top 5 agencies, the 2 appointees from each of those to our caucus meeting. And we sat down and had a dialogue. And it was a beautiful dialogue. It was a dialogue between the members and the appointees to those panels. But it was also a conversation between the appointees and saying, hey, we're having this issue with agency X. How are you handling it? And it was really awesome to see that work. As far as the statewide secondary offices, I've never been shy about my position on that. I've run legislation 3 or 4 times out here to try to give the governor the ability to appoint those positions, statewide elected offices. I believe unifying the executive is important. Having a separation of power between the legislative, executive, and judiciary is extremely important, but having a unified executive is something I value. Whether or not those will pass this year or not is another question.
The House's Speaker McCall was a very good comment about giving COLA to retired state workers this year. Did the pension studies and the actuarial studies, did it give you any more confidence about the state's ability to do that this year?
Was that a direct quote, Young Ho? Is that what he said?
No, he didn't.
Oh, man, that's awesome. No, we were very insistent that we follow over the last year. When I came into office in 2011, teacher retirement was funded at about 47%. It's now in the 72, 73% range, and all the other pensions are in the same type of shape. We're having to put in about $300 to $335 million every year to shore up those pensions, and they're on a much better trajectory than they were when I came into office in 2011. So I think that just because we made those hard choices, saying COLAs couldn't be granted without a vote of the legislature, we were going to invest money off the top, and we were going to make some reforms, have put us in a position to have this conversation. The House advanced to 4% to the actuary. We advanced to 2% to the actuary. We will be negotiating between those positions and making a decision as we go forward. And I look forward to having that conversation.
what would you say are your caucus's 3 priorities for the session?
3 priorities. I think that continuing to work as closely as we can with our counterparts in the House and the governor's office, including the minority party, on trying to advance and work together and not continually fight is a huge priority for us. Number 2, making sure that LOFT is fully implemented. We passed LOFT. It has a huge potential. We're being very judicious in the way we go about hiring a director there to make sure that we get the right person for that job. And then I think continuing transparency and just accountability in agencies, including making sure we have better data to make decisions, are what I would identify as the top three right now.
Do you have any concerns about STIT's support for merging ODOT and OTA? Is
Well, that's my bill.
that should be?
Yeah.
You would do that though with the bonds?
Can we do that with the bonds? Yeah, you would have to make sure there was still a trust and there's still an accountability mechanism under ODOT to get that done. That was a request that the governor asked me to run that, and I readily accepted. Given that we have Director Gatz leading both ODOT and Oklahoma Turnpike Authority, I believe it's the right time to have that conversation again. It's not a new conversation. I knew this conversation was had under Governor Keating's administration and Governor Fallon's administration and Governor Henry's administration. But I think right now having the same director of both, it's time to have that. And we want to make sure we don't jeopardize those federal trust dollars that come into our highway system, and we'll make sure.
Agency forward accountability, I think they have a bill out there on their protection before we kick started more about what we want to do with that.
Yeah, the bill right now, there's two bills. One is just a pure sunset to reevaluate periodically whether or not it should still exist. The other is more of a vehicle to help find some reform that's agreeable to the speaker, myself, the governor, and our various chambers on how do we modernize how we treat state employees on the merit protection side, so there's still works in progress that we have response with.
Yeah, I don't want to cut off your questions, but I want to get this back on track. We have a minority leader here, then the governor.
Hey, I got you back on track, so that's
Got us back on track,
yeah.
Senator.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.